Hey, BassGeek here, and April is some of the best fishing of the year. Seems appropriate. It's the month I was born. Yeah, geeks, April really is a fun time to fish for me. We have pre-spawn, spawn, and then toward the end, we have a mix of spawn and post-spawn fish, and even start to get a little of the shad spawn. So it can be a, wild month worth of fishing if you can stay on top and ahead of it. And one of the ways to do that, especially early, especially as those April rains, those April showers come in, is blade baits. We just pulled up in the back of a creek here, and there was a tree back there that was loaded with bass. Largemouth, smallmouth, just loaded with them. Very back of a creek. We really didn't expect them to be there. Like, we knew they were moving backs and they were in the backs of the creeks, but man, I mean, we're talking about the dead back of the creek. Of course, we spooked them up because we didn't expect them to be there, but this is the place when our blade baits are really going to work. So something like this little spinnerbait here, the dirty flake spinnerbait from Nichols, is incredible. I always like to put my little grub. That's from Yamamoto. That's going to be an incredible bait to use back here around those trees. You can throw it, make a long cast with it, really tick those trees and get a reaction bite out of those bass. So blade baits, you notice I didn't just say spinner baits, I said blade baits too. So blade baits, there's really 2 or 3 different styles. Now, if you've got a lot of grass, and even if you don't, if you get some dirty water, got to talk about the chatterbait too, or the chatterbait style baits, those bladed jigs. Now, what's going to be great about those? Listen, there is a mini that you can skip under docks and around things real easily, and we did an incredible video on this bait and the full-size version last year, and I think a couple years back. One of the loudest baits you can throw, and it's called the copperhead. We're big fans of the mini copperhead. Now, both of these, the copperhead and the mini copperhead, are from first gen, and they come in some great colors and great sizes. Last but not least was a bait we discovered just last year. This bait is called the side piece, and it's from Pulse Lures. This bait is a bait that is designed to come through wood, but has the vibration of a bladed jig or chatterbait. And that's what I like about it. There's another style out there, but it's designed really to come through grass, and it's a lot more expensive than this too. This version is more designed to come over wood. Now, you can come through some grass with it too, but it's really got that spinnerbait style head, and I love this bait. You talk about some incredible vibration when they're up in that 5 foot or less. This bait is something that they don't see, especially around the wood with a vibration they don't feel, especially around the wood. And that Pulse side piece is incredible. And that's number 5 in our top 5. Next up, again, when those bass get up shallow, whether it be on the flats or whether, for me, again, it's around some wood or some sort of secondary points going back into the pockets, I love to throw what I consider a cover glide. Now, you've heard us talk a lot about this little bait right here, and this is my favorite color in clear water. I mean, this bait is deadly in clear water. When those bass are up there shallower, or you need to call them out, you're going to fish this just like a jerkbait pretty much. You're going to twitch it, either with the reel or the rod tip, and you're just going to let it sit there. And those bass will come to it, and then you'll just twitch it a couple more times. It calls the big bass up out of those staging areas. Now, this bait, there's a lot of little tweaks we can do to it to get down a little bit deeper, but I like it when those bass are in that 5 to 8 foot range. I think that's when it works the best, and this is the one that I'm going to throw most of the time, and this is the Thunderhawk Cha-Cha Glide. And that, any sort of glide bait, any sort of hard swim bait, or even your bigger soft plastic swim baits, that is absolutely number 4 this time of year. And let me tell you, for whatever reason in April, as those water temps start to raise, the lake begins to turn over. You get those windy days, you get those bass, because they're going to come up in waves, right? So depending on water temp, depending on, air temp and, moon phases, like right now, this is the second day of April, and we're already noticing that some bass are pulling up. Now, so far we've not found them committed to the beds, but they're pulling up. They're thinking about committing to the beds. And that's early for us in April. Now, as you get into that full moon, that new moon, and then that late full moon later in the month again, this A-rig, as the water temps warm and the air temps or the water begin to do that spring turnover, this A-rig can be deadly. You get a little bit, you hit those areas where they're staging on those days when it's overcast, or those days when you've got some wind. And we've done it repeatedly now over the past few years, where we go into places, and this is a smallmouth fishery, and we catch 20 pounds of largemouth. We caught 4 last year that went over 16 pounds within just like 30 minutes, I think it was. So it was an incredible day, and we went ahead and rounded that out as the day went on. But one of my favorites, and it has to be one of the go-tos, and it's going to be the Yum Brella. This is the Flash Mob Junior version. In ultra clear water, something that I really like is the Strike King Rage swimmers, especially in that ghost shad. Of course, I always paint one up. Put me a little purple on the top, little chartreuse down the tail. That always seems to get them biting. Now, there are times that I'll throw some pretty different colors, but that's a video for another day. This is my go-to, really. You got small blades. There's a lot of small shad that are up in the water. We've seen a ton of them today that are dying. And so we got a slight shad kill going on. But this really mimics those shad real well in that ultra clear water. Like I always say, rain, sleet, snow, or shine, we are out here all the time. And we got a little bit of a spring shower going on right now. So that tells you how hard we love to work for you geeks. Listen, before I say anything else, those heads are the Scottsboro, I think it's a Scottsboro Yum collaboration. I love them. They're affordable. They come in the right sizes. Make sure you go check them out. And you can do that because we don't do memberships or anything like that, because we like to include and share everything we learn and everything we know with every single one of you geeks. And we don't want to make you have to pay for it. We like to keep it free on YouTube. So the best way to support this channel, click that link down in the description, bookmark it, or scan this code, bookmark it on your phone. Best way to support the channel, doesn't cost you a penny extra. When those bass get up there and they're staging this time of year, or they're chasing shad this time of year, they're sitting out there on brush piles, laydowns, docks, pretty much anything you can think of. It is really hard to beat a jerkbait, whether it be a hard jerkbait like this, one of my favorites, the Matt Shad from Mega Bass, in the 110 Junior, 110 plus 1 Junior, and this one right here, one of my favorites, and this is new from them. For the longest of time, Exxon only made the Whiplash Shad in a 6-inch. That's a pretty big bait. Now they make it, I think it's a 3.75, and my favorite is the 5-inch right here. Now, 1-inch doesn't sound like it makes a big difference, but I'm telling you, it really does in this case, especially on the lakes that I'm fishing, because most of the time we've got smaller bait fish, and the Whiplash Shad does an incredible job on calling those fish to it, especially with that unique tail. So when it comes to soft plastics, really there's several out there that I use, but probably my top 3 go-tos are going to be that Whiplash Shad, this little bait right here, which is a new bait that we've been testing from Bass Reaper, called the Mortal Shad. But it's got this great little tail section that's cut down. That is an incredible little soft jerk bait. And this little bait right here, I've caught a ton of bass on this bait. It is probably my go-to when it comes to a soft plastic jerkbait in ultra clear, ultra steep, ultra deep highlands reservoirs. And that's because it's got a lot of salt in it, so it's quicker sink action. It's also soft, extremely soft, but it's got a little bit of sand in it too, which makes it a little heavier. And this is the caffeine shad from Strike King and Ghost Shad. This color right here is almost impossible to beat. So the other jerkbait we talked about was hard baits. Now, when am I going to throw one over the other? The big deal for me is how much wind we're going to have. So if I've got a lot of wind, it's blowing pretty decent, there's a decent ripple on there, I'm going to start with this right here, because we can get it down there, keep it in their face a little bit longer because they're suspended, and get a little bit of action while the wind breaks up the profile of that hard bait. The exact opposite is true when we start talking about a soft jerkbait. When we've got those bluebird, high sun, dead slick calm days, that's when we're going to pull out the soft jerkbait. By the way, you see me holding this. This is my go-to box when it comes to jerkbaits. This is the Evolution Fishing Ballistics Twitch. It's 3.7. It is rust resistant, keeps everything in its place. I love this little box. This is my go-to. I take 2 of these boxes when jerkbait season's out. I take one for my go-tos. That box stays in my boat all year round. The other is for baits that maybe I want to try out, some colors that I want to try out, that sort of stuff. Sealed, it locks, and again, everything, all of this will be in the description down below. But I'm going to show you a few of my go-to jerkbaits this time of year, and I tend to try and match the hatch as much as possible. And of course, one that you're going to see me throw, and I'll show you this. This is the regular 110+1. This is the standard size, and that's matte shad. A great compact version. This is the Abyss 90 from Damiki. And another great color and great bait. These are really my 3 go-to brands, I guess. I use a few extra, but you know, these are kind of my go-tos. This is the Booyah Flashpoint, and again, another great color. This is Elgie Bone. So jerkbaits, absolutely number 2 on the list. So something special happens in April for me, and that is the smallmouth pull up on the beds. And you can't really sight fish smallmouth, so what we call it is shaking the little green worm. I've got a little bit of a twist on the little green worm, and which the same company actually makes the little green worm that I like so much, but I actually like the little bold bluegill worm. This bait rigged wacky or Texas rigged, where I can get it into some cover, is incredible. Generally, I throw it on a 3/16, an 1/8. If the wind's blowing, I can go up to a 1/4. But this little bait, just dragging it through their beds. We're not hopping it. We're just making sure we're keeping contact, and we're just dragging that bait where we know, the areas we know that they're going to be spawning. And smallmouth, man, they can spawn almost anywhere. They're spawning on main lake points, humps, bluffs. There's just a certain type of area that those smallmouth in these highlands reservoirs like. And this little bait, especially with that little bit of greenish chartreuse or whatever it is to it, man, they just kill this. And this is a worm by Bass Munitions. And with this worm, I really rotate through 3 different colors. This is the bold bluegill. I'll rotate through the little green worm, which is just a green pumpkin black flake. And I'll rotate through the morning dawn color also. Now, a little worm that we talked about in a video not too long ago is this little worm right here, this green pumpkin blue. I love a good green pumpkin blue flake this time of year. It's got a little air pocket in the tail so it stands up. And this is the Yum Ned Dinger. Guys, if you haven't seen that video, it done very well. You might want to go check it out and learn a little bit about this bait because it's really unique in how it's made. This is the other bait that I like to throw for those smallmouth up on the beds. And sometimes, you know, it's It really can go hour to hour, location to location, but I keep both of them tied on most of the time when they're up on the beds. Sometimes this little more finesse bait when the water's clear or it's sunny will get you more bites. Now, I will say this. I do tend to use a little bit longer hook because smallmouth, gosh, I don't know how they know, but they really have a bad habit of picking it up by the tail. So I like to use the bigger Z-Man heads that come a little bit farther up. So if they try and just grab it by the tail and set it out of their bed, that hook comes farther up. Because we're not really worried too much about action when they're on the bed. We're just worried about pissing those bass off by being in the bed. So I like that longer hook on those shrooms heads. I don't remember what they are. They're like the Mega or the Max. Anyway, I always keep a few packs of them around, and they get me a few more hookups when I use them. And so that is my top 5 for April. Hey, make sure you leave your top 5 down in the description. Tell me what's going on in your neck of the woods. It's going to be really interesting because spring, you know, it kind of runs from the bottom of the country south and through the top. So I'm interested in what you guys are facing right now and what bites you have going on right now. We are, you know, days or, you know, in some cases just weeks away from the spawn. We already have seen some bass up here spawning, and we're ready to get after them. So you ought to go check out the Yum Ned Dinger video that we did a little while back. Now the giveaway's done been drawn for in that video, but you can go right here and check out some really crazy details about that. Now, questions, comments in the comment section below. Make sure you leave your top 5 baits down there in the comment section. I want to hear from you. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to subscribe. Make sure you ring that bell. Be part of the 100% Water Squad geeks. We need you. You geeks rock.